Shut up and sit down.
I am a radical libertarian.
And we don't want the government to do a damn thing.
The current state of politics is unsustainable, politically, economically.
You deserve better.
It is about supporting, platforming, and assisting the people who are out here actually doing the fight.
You just take an issue that's important to you and do something.
There you go.
You are part of that declaration against tyranny.
Because no one brings tear gas to a gunfight.
This conversation gives me a little more hope for the future.
The one, the only.
Fight for liberty.
This is the cherry on top.
This is FSM.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fight for Liberty show. I'm your host, David Fite, here to get you guys fired up about the men and women who are out here making the world a freer place, whether that's through entrepreneurship, activism, business, writing, journalism. We do a whole bunch of things here, and we've got a guest today who's returning favorite of the show. We love him, but he kind of checks almost all of those boxes. But today we're talking about the author side of things. He's going to come on and tell us about his new book. But before we get into that, as always, we're going to give a little shout out to a few of our sponsors. First, we have Blood of Tyrants, because I'm going to open this right now. I'm going to need this. If you are looking for a nice night in while also sipping on the blood and tears of tyrants, go on over to drinkabloodofTyrants.com, or if you're looking to get energized up, that's what the liquid freedom is for, right here. So go on over drinkbloodofTyrants.com, check them out. We talk about them like every week. You guys should be doing that stuff by now. Tonight also, we are still talking about the Wendy Higdon campaign. She's running for state senate in Kentucky, the 37th district. Election date is December 16th, so we're like a week, 2 weeks away, just under 2 weeks away. So go on over to wendy4ky.com/donate. Give her a couple of bucks and help us get some of these mailers and yard signs out. This is a really exciting campaign. It's a three-way race where the Republican is already crashed and burned and ate shit, and the Democrat isn't exactly a super strong candidate either, and our candidate is an actually well-loved, well-respected activist in the area with decent name recognition. She's the founder of the Louisville Tea Party. She's run as a Democrat. She's been an activist with conservatives, and she's been a libertarian for about 10 years now. This is a great campaign to put your time, energy, or financial resources into. If you're looking for something to donate, wendy4ky.com is the place to go. But without further ado, our guest this evening, apologies, returning after exactly 1 year from his last appearance on the show, we have author, activist, entrepreneur, and all-around awesome guy, Dan Taxation is Theft Behrman. If I can figure out. There we go.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man.
I got like so good at StreamYard, and now with the new surf, like it's good. I like most of it. It's running clean, but just the click-throughs of all the transitions is a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I haven't this studio I have back here, the underground bunker deep within the jungle of Mexico, is I went to the US for like a year, probably like 13, 14 months. And so today I was trying to set this studio back up and I was like, oh shit, I have missing cables. Yeah, it's so I know how that is, and then I was trying to, once I had everything in, I was trying to get all the software working again, and trying to figure out how I used to have it set up. Got some newer equipment to like make things work a little bit better, and yeah, it's wild, man. It's always changing. It's always a pain in the ass, but we're here.
It's a fun touch.
What's that?
I like the bright yellow mic. That's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was I was like, yeah, it's a small thing, but like it's pretty freaking cool.
It's really
It makes
fun.
a huge difference, right? Because otherwise I have like a black microphone on this black background.
Right,
Black
kind of
headphones.
blended in. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's jump right into it. Crash the Fed, the only way to end it. New book out, available. Tell me what
Yeah.
it's about.
So okay, man. Okay, so I guess I have to tell the backstory. So while I was in the U.S., I got an email and it was like, it's Ron Paul's 90th birthday, and I was like, well, I'm in Texas. I guess I got to go to that, right? So I ended up going, and it was an awesome event. And everybody was there. Ron Paul got up. He gave a speech about ending the Fed and all this other stuff. You know, the stuff he always talks about, how fiat sucks, Federal Reserve sucks, federal government, all this other stuff. But mostly about the Fed, right? Which is interesting because I mean he's talked on a lot of different issues, but of course that's that's what he's known for the best.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was thinking about it, I was like, man, you know, like voting sucks. It never changes anything. Like we're gonna be. I was thinking about it. I was like, I can count on one hand all of the members of the Senate and Congress who have ever supported a bill to even audit the Fed on one hand, and one of those was Bernie Sanders. It's not going to happen, right? With the electoral process isn't going to happen, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, the way I do things, the way I've pushed back about against the IRS, big banks, corporations, and all this other stuff before is like, stop asking for permission. Just go. Can I swear on this one? Just go fucking push back. Just go push back. And I was thinking, and I was like, you know, we really could crash the Fed pretty easily, just giving it a gentle little push. The problem is it's this house of cards. And I wish I could show you the cover. I only have one author's copy with me. And I can't find. I'm like digging through my desk right now, and like I've got like the weirdest stuff. Like I got this little. This was actually made by Ron Paul's wife, Carol. I dropped by their house before Thanksgiving a year or two ago, because Dave Dadman is like. He's like, oh yeah, they know me. It's cool. We'll just stop by their house. So we stopped by, and she's like, oh, I made these for the kids for Thanksgiving. You have any kids? And I was like, about to have one. So she's like, well, here. So yeah, I got weird stuff. I got like this stack of fake money, which is like 10 grand, which I'm not going to declare because I'm on a list now. And every time I go to the US, they search all my bags. So we'll see if they find it and what they say. Because I'm not going to say anything. Is it real? I don't answer questions. Anyways, so I'm trying to find this book, and I didn't think about it before the show, so I don't have it. But it's got this really cool picture of the Fed as a house of cards, and it's got Thomas Jefferson. If you remember these old maps where they have like the gods blowing winds like over, you know, the different continents and everything, it's got Thomas Jefferson as one of those guys blowing the wind into the house of cards of the Fed, right? And the whole idea is that, look, like hyperinflation is a thing, right? How many currencies has that taken down in the last couple decades alone, right? And we're constantly like, we as libertarians, as conservatives, as, you know, anybody who's ever said like inflation is really bad, and we say, hey, you know what, inflation's too high, bring it down. We're just helping to make the Federal Reserve last a little bit longer. Because, I mean, think about it. If we didn't resist, if we just said, oh yeah, go ahead and print all the money, what would happen? Hyperinflation, the dollar goes away, the Fed is gone. Easy, right? You don't even have to push it. Just stand back and let it do its thing. It's pretty amazing. And so that's really the whole principle of the book, is examining, well, okay, what would happen if we just kind of stood back, maybe gave it a little push, stood back and let it collapse? And how could we prepare ourselves so that we don't lose everything like a lot of people have in countries where there is hyperinflation? Because, you know, of course, you know, if your entire retirement fund is invested in treasury bonds, that's going to be worthless. I'm sorry. but I mean, you know, the trajectory it's going now is it's going to be worthless anyway, but it's like it's going to be worth like, you know, 10% maybe, so you'll still be like, I have it, just that damn inflation sucked, instead of like we could be saying, well, I lost my retirement fund, but at least I pulled most of it out first and I bought a bunch of gold and crypto and some other stuff, and I still have a house, and like, you know, I still got some, I'm still doing pretty good because I realized that, you know, and this was interesting too, because I was talking to a lot of libertarians and realizing that, you know, I mean, most of us, we get corporate jobs because like that's where the money's at, and you know, even a lot of us get jobs working for the government because that's where the money comes from, right? And so like we do all these things that we kind of hate, and we're kind of, you know, we're like, yeah, I don't really like it, but we're gonna do it. I know a lot of libertarians who have government jobs, but like at the same time, it's like, okay, let's take their money. But then let's just make sure that, so, well, I guess this is the problem, right? A lot of them invest then into their retirement funds, which are holding treasuries and government bonds and all these other things. That's where you have the problem, because if you were to end the Fed, all that becomes worthless. So you can't really tell me you're committed to ending the Fed if your retirement fund is held in treasury bonds and all this other stuff. So anyways, that's kind of like what this book is about, what it kind of examines, and like, you know, how can we create a soft landing pad and kind of help everybody out of the situation that we could end up in if we just, you know, if we kept kicking the can down the road and ended up like Venezuela or Zimbabwe or something like that. So yeah, it's, you know, I just realized I got my can of Mexican WD-40 over here. Where did you go? That's I thought I got a message. Okay, I think Dave got disconnected from his own stream, so this is my show now. So interestingly enough, one of the big things I was pushing for in the book was for crypto, and there's been some really interesting stuff going on with crypto over the past few weeks, with privacy coins and everything else, and of course Bitcoin crashing and all this other stuff. I'm gonna message Dave and see what's going on. Love the world of libertarian podcasts. This is how we do it. Maybe I got disconnected from the internet. Maybe I'm just sitting here talking to myself. I don't know what's going on. Well, that was okay. So I think Connie was watching the stream because she just sent me a picture of the cover of the book, but I don't. Can I screen share? Let me see if I can screen share. Well, here, well, she sent me a copy, or maybe she wasn't watching the stream and she just got her copy in the mail and tuned in to brag about it, or sent me a message to brag about it. All right, I think Dave's back. He's gonna be mad. I chased away half of his audience.
I doubt that. Hey, sorry about that. I don't know what the fuck that was. I tried to get a picture of the book up, and then
you hit the screen share button.
Well, no, I didn't even. I just tried to open fucking Canva for 2 seconds. My computer's like, nah, you can't do that and this at the same time. You're crazy.
Okay, Brian just texted me. We can see and hear you. All right. So I guess I was live the whole time.
I think you were,
you missed a lot, man. A lot happened while you were gone. And this is cool.
Go.
Okay.
There's the book.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so I gotta give this little shout out too, because this is pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited about this. and I wish I had wall space because I'd ordered another one for myself. But you may have seen this guy go viral every once in a while, where he's like sitting outside of a Bank of America, painting the Bank of America as he's sitting outside of it, going up in flames. And there's people standing around. Oh wow, that's so cool, right? So this artist, he actually did one of the Federal Reserve. I don't know if that's like maybe that's too
awesome.
bright. So I'm showing off how shitty my phone is with the lines through the screen, but someone was like, "Why don't you upgrade?" And I'm like, "Man, it's just such a pain in the ass to copy all my files and settings across." Anyways, so I'm gonna be giving away a canvas print of this painting. There we go. I'm gonna be giving away a canvas print of this painting to one lucky purchaser of my book, Crash the Fed. So you can go on Amazon and get it right now. And I don't know if I should say this or not. I guess I kind of have to. So Amazon's a pain in the ass, and I'm trying to cheat the system and get a bunch of books to Dallas, where I'm going to be this weekend. And so basically, in order to make that happen, I had to drop the price of my book to $5.99. So if you order now, you can get a copy of the book for only $5.99. Actually, you can buy 5 copies or 10 copies for $5.99 each. Actually, I take that back. I heard there's a limit of 4 copies per person for some reason. They put a limit on it. And actually, the reason I was asking some other people to place some orders and ship them to Dallas for me, so I could give them to some important people at this libertarian event, was because I placed one order for 12, which is the most they would let me place, and then I tried to place a second order for 12, and it kept canceling it. So it's
so weird that it won't
there's
give the
there's
author
just weird stuff going on.
his own
It's crazy.
book.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I can order 50 copies of it, right? No problem. Except for the fact that it's they give them to me at cost, which also means it's the lowest priority, and they wouldn't get there till January. So it's just like man, I just needed 20, 30, 40 bucks, but okay, whatever. So we'll see what we get. So because Amazon has been pissing me off, and this is the best way I can figure out to get a bunch of copies of this book up there, you can sneak in against my will and purchase these books for only $5.99 for a very, very limited time.
There you go, people. Link is in the description.
Yeah, and just make sure after you buy from Amazon, you're a verified buyer. Go and leave a review, because apparently you need 100 reviews on Amazon to like kick up the algorithm to like get any kind of extra organic reach out of that. So yeah, so so that's going to be the next big push. Is to get those reviews and all this other stuff, but advertising, marketing, all that kind of stuff. Because I mean, we got to get this idea out there. So yeah, go, and like I said, go buy like 4 copies and stuff them in some stockings.
There you go. That's a good one. I'll put them in those little like free little libraries, little house libraries.
I did that with my first book. I put it into like there's an app you can get that shows you where all of them are, and I drove around San Antonio and dropped off like maybe 5 of them.
Nice.
Yeah, it was kind of weird though, because like one of them was in a gated community and I had to sneak past the gate. had to break in basically. And another one, like, it was all children's books in there, and I was like, not exactly my demographic, but maybe one of their parents will pick it up. So, it was fun. But that's actually one thing I'm going to be doing is reaching out to a bunch of libraries and small independent bookstores and everything else, and trying to see if they'll put them on their shelves. So I'm going full ape shit guerrilla marketing with this. So.
I like it.
We'll see what happens.
I might have missed some of the answer to this question already when I decided to crash and burn for 5 minutes. But walk me through a little bit more the the idea of how we actually crash the Fed.
Oh yeah, so basically, this is actually like there's a really great side effect to that, and that's unity between the left and the right, because we're always fighting against each other. I shouldn't say we, because well, let's speak for myself. I'm neither right nor left, but we always hear this expression, right? It's not left versus right; it's us versus them. And what's interesting about this is this creates a system of unity, because at the same time, and I know there's going to be some like I can already hear the cringe coming. All the stuff that the left wants as far as free stuff from government, it basically suggests that anyone who opposes that should just stand back and let it happen. But use that as an opportunity to reach out to these people and say, look, take as much as you want from the government because you're helping to crash the Fed, but we'll even help you. We'll even show you ways that you can take more from the government. But once you have all that money, they're going to try to stop giving it to you and say, you have too much. We don't want you to have any more. We'll show you how to make yourself so, not break any laws, but make it so that this money doesn't count against that and disqualify you for the programs. Once you have that money, side hustles and side income and everything else will help show you how to not pay taxes on it, right? But more important than that, we want to show you how to build wealth, keep it in your community, not just send it back. Oh, sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'm still trying to figure this one out. I gotta, oh shit.
Haha, now I'm taking over.
Right?
It's my own show.
I'm taking it back, man. Yeah, so teach them not to be dependent on these systems, because they are going to go away eventually, right? Not because we're going to take them away or because the right's going to take them away, but because they're going to fail. Like, we know that's the case. But so we turn it into a cooperative effort, and in exchange for that, we say, hey, look, we're going to let you keep taking from the government. Just support us in not paying taxes. When we say we want lower taxes, just say, yeah, okay, great. And then when you say you want more handouts, we'll say, yeah, great. If they want to forgive student loans, sure, why not? Because what's the only thing that's going to get rid of the Fed is the complete devaluation of the dollar, which we all know is coming. And if we're in this group and we're expecting that, like, why are you resisting it? You shouldn't have any dollars anyways, right? Like, we know these dollars are worthless. We should be trading in Bitcoin. We should start doing more of that, or even more so Monero, or one. I don't want to suggest which privacy coin, but because there's a big fight going on. Monero is the one I use. Gold, silver, real estate, land, farmland, like all this stuff. We should be getting rid of all of our dollars and getting all of this stuff, hard assets. Spend your money to learn new skills, right? Because these are things they can't take away from you. And when the economy collapses, like, everyone's like, oh, it's going to collapse and like there's going to be nothing left. The country's like going to shit. And it's like, no, like, look at any country that's ever collapsed, right? Everybody's still there, right? Like, the government can
a few
collapse
less people
and go away. The economy can collapse and go away. But as long as we're capable of growing food, see, that's the problem, right? If the economy collapses and you don't know how to make food, you're in trouble. If the economy collapses and you don't own your house, you're in trouble. So we need to start pushing for as much of this as we possibly can. And we're talking about, home gardens, all this stuff that people are already talking about, right? This stuff's kind of already out there. But it's really just a matter of saying, like, okay, look, the people on the left and the people on the right, the people who want to stop giving money to the government and the people who want to take money from the government, they're on the same fight. Because this is another thing that I think most people don't understand, right? Because I hear so many different things, like even in libertarian anarchist circles, we should keep paying our taxes until they balance the budget and pay down the debt, and then we can start getting rid of the taxes. But it's like, okay, what you're doing is when you pay taxes, you are giving your economic power back to the government. They have the economic power. They decide where the money is spent, right? It's and that's aside from the fact that the government's debt is absolutely impossible to pay. Like, it's mathematically impossible. It cannot be done. And that's because there's more money owed than there is money that exists. It's a mathematical impossibility. It's not going to happen, right? You want a gold back. A lot of people say, "Oh, we need to. Our money needs to be backed by gold." What gold? The government doesn't have any gold anymore, right? Now they could print a bunch of money and buy the gold, but then the gold backing is worthless anyways. And plus, 1970, we had a gold standard, which is more or less gold-backed currency, but it's like it just took one dick to go on TV and say, we're not going to do that anymore. And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
That wasn't a swear word, by the way. That was his name. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so there's all these problems, man. And it's like, when you look at it, it's like, it's hilarious that anyone's actually trying to save this system. Like, the system was designed to enslave everybody. Why are you trying to perpetuate it, right? Just get rid of it. Just stand back and let the thing collapse on itself, right? And so, okay, so this is the other thing, right? We already have people on the left, modern monetary theory, right? Oh, just print all the money. Just like, why are they taxing us when they can just print the money? Okay, yeah, let them, right? Because what it's doing is it's diluting the money, but it's accelerating the crash. But here's the thing, right? If they print money and they give it to BlackRock or like any of these, like, is Halliburton still a thing? Like all these like military contracting companies, they give them to like all these what's it called? Palantir, like all the government contracts. If they're printing the money, when they print the money, they're redistributing the value of the economy back into their purse, right? And then if they give it to their people, then they're deciding where this money goes. Now, all these other people were redistributing the money from the public, right, who's holding this money, into the government, which is then giving it to these evil corporations. But if everyone were to say, you know what, let's make the government pay for free healthcare for everyone. Okay, because now it's going back to doctors and hospitals. Now there's still a lot of shadiness going on there, right? It's going to like, insurance companies and corrupt pharmaceutical companies and everything too, but more of it's going back into the community. Now the trick is, how do we get more into the communities, and then how do we keep it there? So anything from small business loans that are backed by the government, anything from government grants, like programs, like the guy with the question marks all over his shirt that used to be like, buy my book, I'll tell you how to get free money from the government. Like, we should be supporting all this, because that is helping to accelerate the crash of the Fed, which is the end of the Fed. There is no peaceful end to the Fed. There is no end of the Fed where we, like, all of the sudden our bank accounts are actually worth something and the value of the dollar goes up. That's not going to happen. It's an impossibility. We need to get that out of our heads and understand the end of the Fed is a crash of the Fed, and we don't want to be in the building when it falls down. That's the thing, right? So, so basically in this book, I look at that from a lot of different angles, and hopefully everyone else is going to see it the same way. Hopefully I've provided a good enough argument to say that, like, this is what we should be doing.
I like it. Well, apparently you've made at least one good argument, because you've made us one sale already in the span of the show.
Sweet.
So let's talk a little bit more about, you're talking about how to not be in the house when it crashes. Obviously, like in our community, we talk a lot about crypto and hard assets and things like that. But that's I feel like it's a lot of times really like hypothetical, or it's what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's just kind of like you're thinking about it, but actually taking all of your dollars and turning it into a cryptocurrency and opening wallets and trying to operate your life that way, that's a lot.
Yeah,
it is. So how do you suggest people kind of, at least start to move towards that direction? Obviously they're not going to probably jump all in, but start moving towards that.
So it's really it's education, and it's teaching each other. I mean, think about it. Like, where did you learn what money was? right? Like oh, it's these paper. You go get it. You probably learned it from your parents or your grandparents or like probably and you get to school and they teach you how to count it and like a little bit more. They never tell you it's from the Federal Reserve and all this other stuff, but they tell you this is money. You go earn it, you go spend it, right? It comes from the community. It comes from families, right? And so all we need to do is we need to start spreading that the same way within our communities, within our families. And there's a lot of resistance to it because it is a big change. But the more we do it, the more people adapt and start looking for other solutions to make it easier, right? I think it was Square is starting to allow you to make payments in Bitcoin now to anybody. This is something that I've been saying for a while. Like when you go to a restaurant, they don't have their own software running on that little POS machine, not piece of shit, point of sale. These machines, right?
They're both.
Yeah,
there's a reason the acronyms are the same.
So they get these machines which usually come from their payment processors, and their payment processors decide what payments they can accept. Some of them accept Bitcoin, some of them accept Cash App, and all these other things. And so what Square did is they started allowing people to pay with crypto. Now, of course, the person who's receiving it, the business who's receiving it, it might convert it instantly into dollars, but it's a step in the right direction, right? And I don't know if they give you the option to hold it in crypto, but some of them do. And if you go to any of my stores, taxationistheft.info, I give you a 10% discount if you pay with crypto. But that crypto, I should say there's a handful of cryptos like Bitcoin, Monero, Doge, and a couple others. If you pay with those go straight into my wallet. I don't convert those. And actually anything else I think converts to Bitcoin. So I'm keeping that all in crypto, and I'm trying to, do as much as I can. There's a marketing firm that I was going to work with on my book that said I can pay them in Monero. And I'm like, that sounds amazing, right? So, people talk about circular economies and all this other stuff. Just start doing, and like this only happened because I just threw it out there. Yeah, it would be really awesome if I could pay you Monero too. And they were like, oh yeah, we could probably do that. So like sometimes it's just a matter of saying it. I know near where I am in Mexico, there's a girl on Isla Mujeres who she started up a little cafe there, and she's been going around to everybody on the island trying to get them to accept Bitcoin. So now they're installing their wallets and everything else. Now, of course, there are problems with this, right? Because you talk about non-custodial wallets, people who have hot wallets in their phone, they can have their phones hacked, they can download malware, just thinking it's this other app from the store. You got to keep your keys safe and all this other stuff, and that can be a challenge for a lot of people, because as much as it is for a lot of crypto heads to say like, oh, it's easy, you just do this and this and this. It's not that easy for everybody. So we do have some hurdles to overcome and ways to make this easier. I think for a lot of people, custodial wallets, I don't want to say they're fine, but like they'll get by with those for a while, especially if they don't have a lot of money in it. But it at least takes a lot of that burden off of their shoulders. I don't want to get people into using custodial wallets, but like it's a stepping stone, right? So I think there's all kinds of ways, but ultimately, like, we need to teach each other and we need to show each other how to do it. And as the communities continue to grow, you're going to have all kinds of entrepreneurs popping up out of nowhere with like, hey, I have an idea on how to make this better. And that's just how it's going to make things easier for everyone. But we have to focus on that. Like, how do we make it easy for everyone? Like that's a key that I think a lot of people are looking at, but a lot of people like to overlook. And I think that's a really important part of it.
Yeah, I think there's a really tough thing that we struggle with and we as like anyone right of center philosophically, towards, or actually I should say left of center in the original dichotomy, the like decentralization of things, is that it means that everything's shittier. Right, like the more you decentralize and split it up, and there's how many different coins and how many different wallets and all these different like networks and exchanges and all this other stuff, none of it compares to just the ease and simplicity of like a Cash App or a PayPal that is just kind of, there's like 3 or 4 that just kind of monopolize an industry, and then those are the 3 or 4 that exist, and they get really good at what they do for the most part. And they're not, obviously nobody's great, but they do the thing, and they get better, and they innovate, and it becomes smoother. Where I feel like, at least every year, most of my crypto friends are talking about a new wallet that's like the wallet for everybody to have, and everybody's trying to migrate over to this other thing because this other one got shitty or surrendered to the feds or whatever it is, started reporting like tax information or something like that. Coinbase was huge there for a bit, and then they got thrown to the wayside. And I don't know. I think that as much as I
sell. Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt with that, but
I think that as much as I like things to not be centralized, typically, I feel like we have to kind of agree to not a monopoly. Don't let a monopoly happen. We have to pick like 3 or 4 wallets and like max 10 coins and just be like, all right, this is crypto.
Right.
This is the competition that will continue to be a healthy competition, and you can squeeze in there as a new player but like these are the things that we expand on and make better.
Well, I think so. This is an interesting analogy that I think is really kind of hits on that, right? Around the world, there's 190 something countries. How many currencies are there? It's probably, I think it's fewer than 190 because not every country has its own. But
probably like 100.
There's a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can go pretty much anywhere in the world, and you can swipe your debit card and pay someone, right? And it's not because they accept dollars; it's because you're using Visa or MasterCard, who basically, like, it's an ecosystem of banks and exchanges and everything where you swipe your card and they're able to take dollars out of your account and pay this other person in euros, yen, whatever, right? And so you have systems like that, and this is what I've been saying forever, is that's what's holding back Bitcoin, right? Because you can't. People say this all the time. You can't walk into a grocery store and pay for your groceries with Bitcoin. You can't, but you could if the makers of the POS machines said, "Hey, we're going to accept Bitcoin and we'll just swap it into dollars." The same way, because these companies, they don't accept Visa. Right? Visa credits don't get deposited into their bank account. They accept the payment processing system accepts Visa. And when a charge goes through, they talk to Visa and they say, okay, this bank is going to send money into your account and you get dollars in your account. You don't get Visa credits, you get dollars, right? And the same thing can happen with crypto, right? And when you have a system like that, like if you go to taxationstuff.info, you can pay with over 100 different coins. Now, I agree with what you're saying, right? Most of them are shit coins, and I don't recommend anyone buy like most of them, right? There are a handful of good ones, and I say good by saying they've been there forever. They're reliable. They have huge fan bases that are not they didn't just show up yesterday. They've been there for years, and they're going to be there forever. I consider those solid, and I don't say to necessarily stash them for sure, but don't necessarily invest in them as oh, it's going to go up and you're going to make money. But I would also say buy gold, silver, like buy a little bit of everything, right? You don't have to like stick all your eggs in the proverbial basket, right? But it's this. But there are systems, and that's what we need, is those systems to make sure that that anyone can pay anyone with anything. Now, here's another interesting thing that you can do now, and most wallets have it, but there's these DeFi exchanges, right? So basically, let's say I want to get paid in Monero and you have Bitcoin. I can say, okay, I want to convert this amount of Bitcoin to this much Monero, and then I can say, okay, you're going to send me 0.005 Bitcoin. I'm going to show you the QR code that has a Bitcoin address on it. You're going to send it there. It's going to go to a DeFi exchange, and they're going to send me the Monero. So now, even though I don't accept your coin, you can still pay me with it, right?
Right.
So again, it makes things a little bit more complicated. But how long until like the app just says, okay, we're not even going to show you all that mess. We're just going to say, oh, you want to get paid in this much Monero, and then just what's the person paying you with? Oh, Bitcoin, okay, and then just figure out what to send to it. Or something like that, or maybe it's even simpler than that, where it's just like, oh, you want to get paid this much Monero, you scan it with your phone, whatever you want to send, you send it, and it does the conversion and it tells you what it's going to be, and it just goes across. Maybe it's that simple at some point. But it is like, yeah, you're right. Like right now, it's not that simple, and that's a hurdle that we have to get over. But that's in preparation for the crash of the Fed. We better hurry the fuck up.
Right. I feel like the big piece of the puzzle that we're missing from like the Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America kind of situation versus this is the reserves of the money. Like you're talking about being able to go down to Mexico and I can swipe my debit card or my credit card and it's fine. It's because my bank, like PNC or whatever, has a lot of dollars and a lot of
I think there's
pesos.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it just like whoosh. And they're able to, it's not that they're converting my dollars into pesos in real time, it's they're taking my dollars and giving the store owner pesos out of their account, and then if necessary, they'll convert it at some point in time. But they have a massive amount of both that they're able to just kind of do that.
So that conversion is going to happen more likely in some other exchange, not just in your bank. But to your point, that exchange is going to have some store of that. But that's exactly how these DeFi markets are working already. They have like stores of and maybe it's not that much. Maybe it can't handle that much volume. Maybe if a lot of orders came in, that could like cause some volatility. But I think once that's a proven market, more people are going to step up and say, let's create more of these things, and create those reserves, because they can't, like you said, they can't function without a reserve, right? Like if you send them Bitcoin and I want Monero and they don't have any Monero to send me, it's not going through, right? So they have to have that. Not only that, like they can't just have like someone else's Monero pledged to their exchange. It has to be in their exchange because they have to be able to release it to me. So they have to have control over it in their wallets, right? So so I think that system is possible, but you're right. It's another complication. But all these massive banks have figured it out, and it's not that complicated of a problem. The reason it feels complicated is because when we hear about like, oh, I want to start up a bank, you think regulations and like all this other like crazy nonsense. But that's stuff that a lot of these banks, some of it's been like regulators who are just like, oh, you ripped somebody off, we can't have that happen again. But a lot of it's actually put in place by banks to prevent other banks from entering and competing. So we have this like protectionism too, and that's why they hate crypto so much. But there's it's so yeah, it is something that we need to do, but it's something that we can do. It's not if we say, hey, look, there's a problem to solve, we can solve it, right? We just need to put in the effort and do it.
Yeah. It would take a couple of those like Bitcoin billionaires to kind of break up their reserves and put it into something like that and really give it some legs.
Satoshi's like quietly sitting in the back row waiting for the moment for this to happen.
Right. One of the things I've always wanted to see happen is like a freedom first, or like kind of similar to some of the businesses you've built where it's like it's technically libertarian, but it's not at its face value necessarily version of a payment processing service where it is accepting all of these different cryptos. It's kind of allowing for other loopholes and things like that to be able to be done, because a lot of what people are getting screwed over with now is that you can't function in a in the world without being part of the system in a way that they know how much money, now like Cash App and Venmo and all these people are reporting to the IRS. There isn't really a way to function in 2025 and like work under the table or anything like that because none of the systems will let you. If there was a system that just kind of like treated all transactions kind of similarly, whether it was cash or card or crypto or whatever, as far as the reporting goes, which technically you don't have to say what it is when you're reporting those transactions. That's just something your POS system does, and you didn't care to like not have it do that. And there really isn't an option, but there could be if we had a POS system that, was freedom centric in its thought process, but the sale to the merchant from that point is still fairly simple of like, wouldn't you rather be able to take all of the possible currencies, including likely better access to international currencies and things like that? If we're building it out like this, there's no reason why you couldn't take just about everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's PayPal's biggest selling point is like, by adding a PayPal button on your e-commerce checkout site, you're going to increase your sales by 20%, or they have some statistic or something like that, right? And it's like, okay, so why can't you pay with PayPal when you go into like, Best Buy or any of these places? And I think and Google's gotten their way and Apple's gotten their way in there a lot of places, right? You can do Google Pay and Apple Pay and all this other stuff. It's the same kind of thing, but in those cases, you have these mega corporations who basically go to these POS providers and say, hey, we will pay you millions of dollars if you write the software into your thing so that you can offer it to all your customers. And they might even say, we'll give you a kickback on every transaction, just so that because they have the power to do that. And when you're talking about Google, right, it's like, we'll give you 0.5% from every single transaction, right? It's like, okay, that could be $1 billion a year. That's a lot of money. So they have the power to do that, but who's the CEO of Bitcoin that's going to go up to these companies and say, hey, I'll give you $10 million to include the software? That's not there. So they need to come to that conclusion on their own, and to think that that's a good idea. So unless there's unless Satoshi is like, if you're listening, like, hey, maybe or like one of these other like Bitcoin billionaires who's just got like 1 million Bitcoin stashed away somewhere. I saw there was this it was like a gaming contest, right? Like everyone was going to play a game, and it was from like 2012 something, I don't know, but it was like first prize was like 1,000. You saw that? It was going around a couple days ago. First prize was like $1,000, and second prize is $500. Then it goes down to like sixth prize is $100, and then 7th through 10th place was like 25 Bitcoins or something. And it's like, yeah, I bet that was worth like $20 back then. Okay. Yeah, like someone who's sitting.
If you placed like 9th at that and held on to it though.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like a lot of people have, like, there are people who are sitting on thousands of Bitcoins, that they just bought a long time ago, and they're just like, oh my god, I'm gonna hold until they're worth $1 million each. And they but it's like, one of them's gonna have to say, hey, let me sell $100 million worth of this so that I can bribe all these POS makers to stick Bitcoin in there, and offer it to all their customers. That's really the kind of thing that it'll take, or enough people to realize, because this is another thing, right? If you let's say you run a bakery, or just just a little mom and pop shop, right? Like would you okay, if you could hire someone on like Upwork or something to like write the software to like update you'd probably spend a few $1,000s. It wouldn't be a whole lot of money, and you'd get a POS to process Bitcoin. But how many people are coming into your store, and how much money are you actually going to make by accepting that additional Bitcoin, right? And so this is a lot of pushback that people have now, which is like nobody has it to spend it. So even if I accepted it, I'm not going to make a lot of sales. Even on taxationstheft.info, I don't make a whole lot of sales in crypto. I make a few, but it's not even half of them, right? And so it's not a lot. And for individuals to make that investment, it doesn't make sense. But for a big company to do that, it evens out, cost per transaction to work a lot better. It's just that they need to want to do that, and consumer demand, push and pull, and everything else. Like there's a lot of factors going into it that it's just not happening. But there's nothing really stopping it from happening. Like even the regulations and everything make it a little bit more difficult, but there's nothing really stopping it from happening.
Yeah. There needs to also be a push, because accepting Bitcoin at the POS is all well and good, but like you said, it doesn't help if no one has any. So we also need a push for getting paid in Bitcoin as pay on a payroll side of things, and making that more normal. Again, like if we just got a few like big corporations to even just allow it, like the amount,
or
that
even
the
your
problem
401k, like, because if you still can't buy your groceries with it yet, hey, give me a tenth of a Bitcoin every year to stick in my 401k.
This is definitely a better plan than putting it into anything else, that's for sure.
Right.
But like the problem you're talking about, out of like no one having it to spend it if you accepted it, would change overnight if all of a sudden Walmart allowed their employees to be paid in crypto. Like,
right,
you're talking what, 500,000 employees across the country.
God, son of a bitch.
And even if 1% of them did it, then you're talking like a new couple thousand, or that 5,000 people with crypto every week that can go and participate in the marketplace. Flip just a few of those stores, maybe like an HEB or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
it would be huge.
That's another thing we need to target.
Yeah, and even if it's like half and half, like because I know everyone, well, I can't pay my rent in that. Well, I mean, look, because to your point, right? If let's say, okay, one corporation does it, you get 5,000 employees, and then let's say another couple start to follow it because like, oh, it's getting us some better, like, Amazon's like, oh, we pay our employees shit, but if half of that shit is in Bitcoin, everyone's getting excited, so maybe we'll start looking better about how we treat our employees by giving them a little crypto, which doesn't cost us much more. And then next thing you know, you have thousands of people running around with a little bit of crypto, and they're like, I'm going to start using this instead. Why? Because if I buy my weed from my dealer with that, like it doesn't get reported like Venmo does, right? For all these different reasons for it. Which by the way, that's the next book that I'm working on is How I Don't Pay Any Taxes, which has a lot to do with if Venmo reports that your transactions are taxable, you just go back to the IRS and say no, they're not. But that's another story for the next book. But like, because ultimately, but that's the thing, right? It just needs to be out there in the hands of people, and they'll start using it. I mean, shit, you give people free stickers with your Happy Meal to save up towards winning a $1 million prize in some lottery, and people will save them and use them. And they'll get, oh, well, I didn't win $1 million, but I want a free Happy Meal. They'll go buy another one. It's really just a matter of putting the stuff in the hands of people, and they'll start to use it. And once they realize, like, oh, this even happened to me with Monero, right? I was at a Liberty conference in Miami, I think, and this guy Doug was there, and he had this table set up for Monero, and he was selling coffee, and he was like, and he was making coffee at this little coffee brewing station, and he was like, yeah, if you download this wallet, I'll give you $10 in Monero for free. And I was like, okay. That $10 sat in that wallet for like, I don't know, 6 months, and I never started to use it. And then I saw it go up to 12, and I was like, oh, that's when I started getting interested in using Monero. So, and this is it's an interesting thing with crypto, right? Because people like to say crypto is not inflationary like the dollar is. Actually, crypto is very inflationary, but it's also deflationary. Because there's a lot more factors that that go into it with just money supply, right? It's supply and demand. So as more people start to use a currency, it becomes deflationary. But also the nature of cryptocurrencies is that every time a block is mined, more of it is produced, right? So so it is inflationary. You have inflation and deflation, and they're just trying to outpace each other, right? And so, but point is, like, you have the money in your wallet, you realize, hey, people are starting to use this, it's becoming popular, like, I'm gonna get some more of it. And then I started just buying a bunch more of it, and now I'm starting to actually spend it. So it's like, it can happen, right? It's just a matter of good. And Doug's out there like doing God's work, sticking Monero in people's hands for free. I've seen people doing the same thing with Bitcoin Cash. You know, and it's like it works. It gets people to use a system. Like that's how so many people use Cash App or Robinhood. Like, they heard, oh, my friend's using it. My friend told me to download the app. Somebody said, hey, can you send me something in Cash App? Like, that's all it was, right? It wasn't like, oh, if you download Cash App, you're gonna you're gonna spend it. We sell you a service that costs you this much per month, and it's gonna do something. No, somebody was like, hey, can you send me some money? Yeah. Do you have PayPal? Well, actually, I switched to Cash App because PayPal sucks. And then everyone was like, oh, okay, I'll go download Cash App. And it was easy because all they had to do was link it to their bank account. So, like, as long as it's easy to, like, add Bitcoin into your wallet, whether it's from your job or from your bank account, like, people will switch to this stuff. And when some of these, like, when some of these, like, cash wallets, like Cash App or Venmo, or like, when they start dealing with crypto in a way that you have that money in your account, and oh, somebody's asking for Bitcoin, I can send them Bitcoin from whatever cash wallet I'm using. Now you have that transaction going too. So it's just a matter of, like, just pushing it from every angle, and it's going to happen. And then especially when people are like, I'd rather have that than those dollars anyways. Like,
That'll be a good moment.
Yeah.
I think there's the two sides of the issue, that it's hard to get. It's kind of like a catch-22 with, there's not enough people that have it and not enough people that accept it, and then back and forth. And I think there's definitely movement on both fronts that I've seen. Like, you're talking with Square accepting crypto, even like Venmo and PayPal and Cash App, all you can use Bitcoin and I think Ethereum on most of those as well. It's definitely moving in the right direction, and those, like you're saying, those aren't the best solution. It's not like a great long-term thing if you want to be into crypto, but that kind of middle ground account of, like, start putting your paycheck into Bitcoin on Cash App, because that's the thing that you can just have it do automatically. If you get direct deposit, you can have it just, like, take half of it and buy Bitcoin with it automatically, and just kind of grow that. Just start doing that. It's, again, getting up faster than putting it in your savings on Cash App, more than likely. Just kind of dip your toe into it and start working with it, and you'll be surprised how many, especially if you are somebody that goes to, like, the conventions and shit that we go to and all the other events and stuff, like, you can buy everybody's thing with Bitcoin. We all definitely take Bitcoin. Any, like, Pork Fest or Freedom Fest or Liberty Con or any of that shit, it'll go over fairly well. You'd be surprised about, like, other non-libertarian things, like Coachella-esque, like, festivals and things like that. Nice. Fairly open to crypto, especially, like, the crypto to drug culture crossover is pretty strong, right? For obvious reasons. We got a question or go ahead.
That's actually a good one. I know Coachella doesn't do this, but, like, a lot of maybe they do. I went a long time ago, but I know, like, festivals are starting to do this now, where it's the old carnival model, right? You buy scripts or coupons. There's that comedian, coupons. I got my coupons. And what they're doing is they're telling you like, oh, you got to buy our currency. And the whole reason for this is they're trying to make sure that the vendors in their event are like, they're paying a tax for every transaction that they have. They're paying a tax. And I'm sure they have undercovers who are going around, oh, I don't have any more coupons. Can I just pay you in cash to see if they'll take it? So that they can say like, oh, you broke the contract. You owe us a $500 fine. All that stuff's going on. But they do that. But okay, so a couple of points to this. One is that here's another currency and people take it because they have to, and then they use it. And it's like, oh, it's just like money. And like there's a 1-to-1 ratio that makes it a little bit easier to understand, but it's at the same time, they're still paying $10 for a Coke or something. So like they're still pissed off about it. But it's like it's 1-to-1 at the exchange. But then once you get into the market, it's like, hey, this shit's worthless. But like so that kind of proves like the same point with Bitcoin. But now the high tech version is I've been to somewhere they give you a bracelet, and like you have to go back. So it's the same guys that would sell you the coupons before. You have to go back and wait in that line and swipe your credit card so that they can add more money into your bracelet. Then you have to go back to the bar and wait in that line so they can take the money out of your bracelet. And whatever you don't spend when you leave, they just get to keep it all, right? It's the same kind of thing. So like it's a different currency, it's a different process. People are forced to learn. So what happens if you have a festival where people are just like, no, our currency is Bitcoin. That's it, right? You're forcing people to learn. Now, of course, it's not in their best interest to do that because then they don't take a commission off the top unless they they could figure out some way to do that. But it's against their profit squeeze that they're doing, which I mean, hey, this is what everybody hates, right? Like the music scene turned into corporate culture where they're just like trying to squeeze every penny out of you, where the raves used to be like you go out to the middle of the desert and just listen to good music. It's like if you go back to a middle ground on that and somebody were to say like, yeah, our raves are more like the old raves and like we accept Bitcoin and like our price, the people are able to sell their stuff and not rip you off. Like that kind of stuff, like there could be a market for that. So yeah, but sorry, I think you were saying something.
No, I was gonna take a question from the comments, so I wanted to let you wrap that up first.
Yeah, go for it.
Because good point. Like you're saying, like they're already you're going to something like that, kind of expecting them to be like, your money is worthless here. You must use our thing. So fucking might as well be Bitcoin or Monero or something else. Question from the comments, which actually, we've both seen festivals try to do with this too. What's your take on goldbacks?
They're pretty cool. I like them. I don't have a whole lot of them. I have a few that I always carry around. It's, I don't know. Like, so this is an interesting thing. I don't want to say anything bad about them, but I will say that they are kind of plagued with the same problems that paper money have. And that is, the problem of determining authenticity. And of course, you have the same problem with gold and silver coins, right? There's fakes out there too. They're weighted with lead and either coated with real gold or something like that. There's all kinds of ways they can fix that. And I talk a lot about some of these systems in the book where if we were to go back to a point where the government, maybe we do have a gold-backed currency, but it's not government issued, it's private banks. Then you have multiple banks, which is how things used to be. You'd have multiple banks issuing checks, and it's kind of like, if anyone remembers, I don't know if anyone still does this, writes you a check. You take that check to a bank and you deposit it, and they'll give you Federal Reserve notes for it. But how do you know if that check is real, right? And the difference between a check is it's got someone's name on it that you probably know who might have given it to you, so there's a little bit of personal connection there. But what if it's what if they give you a banknote from some bank you've never heard of? How do you know if that's real? Now, I think with crypto, people have proposed all kinds of hypothetical situations where you could verify those with scan a QR code or something. Figure out some way to verify those now. But the thing that they do with paper money, which is why why counterfeiting is such a problem. Well, not really, because they well, we're printing faster than the counterfeiters can possibly, anyways, right? But it's like that's a drop in the bucket. But the problem with that is it can be counterfeited. It's not easy. Not a lot of people can do it, but it can. And so you kind of have that problem with gold backs, I think, and obviously not easy to counterfeit. But I remember having this discussion with somebody, and I was like, "Can they be counterfeited?" And their response to me was, "No. The people who make the gold backs they own the only machine that can, make the gold stick to the plastic and blah blah blah." Well, interestingly enough, the next convention that I was at, I saw people selling these gold. It was like a gold back. It was much bigger, and it was like a Constitution, right? Like a page of the Constitution, and it's so totally different design. Not a gold back, but it's the same style of machinery, right? That probably made it. So I don't know how true that is. Now, of course, trying to copy the design and making everything perfect, sure. Maybe that's where you could stop the counterfeiters, but how many people are going to know, right? Like if somebody handed you, how are you going to know, oh, there's an extra eagle in the sky, right? Like not too many people know this, especially when they're making different designs from different states. So not to say anything bad about Goldbacks, because I do like what they're doing. And in fact, for Blood of Tyrants, I was even thinking of at one point sticking a gold back in every box, or one in every 10 boxes or something, to send it out just so people had them. And if we got it into retail, allow people to basically. This is what my play was going to be if we ever got Blood of Tyrants into retail. Was, how you get the newspaper and they have the coupons with the clippings, you can cut them out, and it says 50 cents off, right? You take those to the grocery store, you get 50 cents off. The grocery store is not just giving you a discount, they're taking those coupons and they're sending them back to the manufacturer saying, hey, we gave a discount because you ran this ad, so now you give us the money for selling your product at a discount. So same kind of thing, telling these retail stores, hey, we've got coupons out there, they're gold backs, this is what they look like. I'll send them an actual one so they can feel it, touch it, look at it, know exactly what it looks like. If somebody comes in with one gold back, they can have a can of Blood of Tyrants, because that's, more or less that's what the exchange would be. And then you give that to them, and then if you don't want to keep those gold backs for yourself, send them to us and we'll pay you what the value of the can was that you sold. So you're still getting your money. We're creating incentive for more people to come buy from you. And we're also getting people to use gold backs in circulation. So the fact that I had that plan hopefully demonstrates that I do like gold backs, and I would love to see them in circulation. I just see that there's certain problems. And, with crypto, nothing's perfect, right? I see this all the time on Twitter, right? People are like, gold sucks, crypto is king, right? And then everyone else is like, no, gold is king, crypto's stupid. It's not backed by anything, right? They're going back and forth, and it's like, guys, buy both. Buy a little bit of both, gold, silver, crypto, and not just one crypto, Bitcoin, Monero. Spread it around a little bit, because they're all valuable. They all have different uses. What's your house made out of? One material? Were you just like, I'm gonna build my house out of wood? No drywall, no copper cables, no plastic or copper tubes for the water. Just wood, just 100% wood. No, you're not going to do that, right? Because different materials have different properties, different currencies have different properties. Don't stick all your eggs in one basket, right? That's kind of how I see it. So it's really just a matter of understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each of those currencies. But I know that's kind of the other end of the spectrum of making things easier for people, right? So yeah,
I do a lot of my stuff. Most of the crypto that I own at the moment is on the Solana network, because that's got more of the fun stuff. I have this app, or I don't even know how to exactly define it, because you have to get to it from within, like a wallet or whatever. But it's like a walking contest that you can like enter these specific contests. It's like you have to walk X amount of steps a day for X amount of days, and you have to put in so much of like, there's a couple of coins I think that you can put in. You have to put in like X amount to join, and then if you don't hit that threshold every day, you like lose money, and everybody that did hit that threshold gets a chunk of the money that was taken from the people who didn't. So I've only made a little bit because I don't always do it. I try to time it when I have like a field job or something like that, and I'm out there fucking, there's zero chances for me to not hit the marks. But it's just like kind of a fun thing that exists, and it's a little incentive to make sure that even on my day off, you know, you can get out there, go on a couple walks, make sure you hit like the 3,000 steps a day or whatever. But there's some of them that are like 15,000 steps a day. It's like these people are walking like 8 miles a day consistently for 14 days to win, $100 worth of crypto. It's great.
There's another. I met a guy who's like, that's all he does is Solana. Like, I mean, he lives on Solana, like buying and trading shit coins and shit meme coins and everything. But also like he's into that kind of stuff. And he said he gets his cell phone service for free, from a company that. So like I looked into this, and I was like I don't know if I want to do that, because you have to enable like all kinds of information you're sending back to them. But basically, as you travel around to different cell towers, they're collecting that information, and they're basically buying that back from you in Solana, and you can use that to pay for your cell phone service. So you can actually, not just pay for your service, but you can actually make money on it if you go to enough cell towers or something. And not something I would
if I know the person you're talking about.
Yeah, you do actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's how I met him.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is that's why you're on Solana, isn't it? Because of him. Yeah, he got me to download that wallet too. It was fun.
Happy birthday, Zach. His birthday was just like yesterday or the day before.
Oh, awesome. So. Happy birthday. Yeah, and it's and then I mean, Trump's shitcoin ended up being on Solana, right? Like, and that was huge. And it's this is what Zach taught me that was pretty awesome. I was like, dude, like they're all like it's all pump and dump, right? Like none of these are gonna like it's. And he's like, yeah, but like it's like a game. He's like, you try to go up with it, and you try to get out before it falls down. And I was like, okay, well, if you treat it, I was like, I guess that's kind of cool, right? But like, aren't there people who are like, they think it's real, and they're like putting in real money, thinking they're gonna make something, and then they get fucked. And like that's kind of the problem I have with the shit coins or the shit tokens, but yeah, so that's
I like
but
it.
like the fact that Solana can do so much is really interesting. Like it makes it. Because I mean, I would imagine, for example, you could play a game of chess on Solana, right? And like, there's no way of cheating, because like the whole thing is getting like filtered through and verified through a blockchain. Like you could do some really, really interesting, really cool stuff with it. And I think that's what makes it valuable. And I think that's the point where like people need to understand, like, going back to the different currencies and like what their strengths and weaknesses are, and like where their value comes from. I think that's what's really interesting about that kind of stuff. And like, yeah.
I think it's about the same moral like compass as the stock market, in my opinion, as far as like the shit coins. It's just not actually tied to anything specific. Like every stock is tied to a business that actually like kind of sort of matters, where I think the shitcoin stuff, it's more fun because it's unregulated. There's no worries about having to jump through hoops of legality and whatever, and it's just completely just Wild West situation on it. And so you can, insider trading is completely fine, right? You can get with a bunch of people and do a pump and dump, and there's nothing illegal about it. And I feel like when you're on those shit coins, it is fairly widely accepted that we're talking about a shit coin that's just, you might get rich out of it. It's gambling. It's either stock market trading or it's gambling. And if you think about shit coins, anything below the top like 7 or 10, whatever, like the clearly just shit coins, you have to think about it like that. It's not a true investment. It's like day trading, which is gambling. It's not like getting a market portfolio. It's day trading.
Well, I mean, this is the problem I have with it, though. You get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who were following Hawk Tuah did not get it. And a lot of people who were following...
stupid.
But I get that. But, like, see, this is the excuse
survival of the fittest.
This is the excuse for the existence of every government program, though, is somebody took advantage of these stupid people. We need a law to protect them, right? So it's kind
Don't
of
be
like
stupid.
Yeah, but it's easier to just, I mean, put enough disclaimers on it, right? This is a shit coin. You're gonna lose all your money, right? And because people don't know what they don't know, right? I wouldn't even say it's stupidity. It's trust, right? I mean, shit. How many people lost their money sticking it into banks, big banks? Like, were they all stupid? No, they just trusted the banks. They trusted Hawk Tuah.
Also,
Trump.
yes, they were stupid, but
I'm not gonna debate that point with you. I don't know if I just pulled out a cable. I'm not gonna debate that point with you, but
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my only issue with it.
My favorite ones are the ones that are like kind of like a social stock. I think my favorite coin that I own some of is the Costco hot dog coin. Where it's a meme, and it's like a social movement, and it's like a thing that it kind of like rides that line in between like a legitimate coin and a shit coin, where it's like it's not an inevitable pump and dump. It's not something that you like might have some fun with for a week. It's got legs that it did climb there for a solid bit. It went from like 0.001 cent to like 5 or 6 cents for a while. Like, it did climb up pretty quickly, and it's kind of plateaued, unfortunately, very quickly after I got into it, but it hasn't tanked back down really. And it's the goal is to get it to like 199 or whatever, how much a fucking Costco hot dog is, and the goal is to get it there and keep it there, because like it's a bunch of nerds that love Costco. What's that? Is that the Costco hot dog?
Yeah.
Fair. I haven't checked it in a minute. Well, shit.
No, I was just looking at my Ross coin, for Ross Ulbricht, and it's you can't even see the peak that it was back when it was up there. I don't know why the line is green. Why does it say it's up 158%? I'm sure it says my total value is worth 17 cents. I'm sure I would have bought more than 17 cents worth of it.
Yeah, that seems unlikely.
It's like the numbers are so crazy that the metrics don't even make sense, because they're just like 100 trillion% increase. What? Yeah, but I think you're right. Like, it can be fun, but like it's not fun. It's not fun if not everyone knows they're playing a game. That's where I think the ethical dilemma is. And I think also it gives other coins, like legitimate coins, a bad name, because to somebody who's just trying it for the first time, like if their first experience with any kind of crypto was Hawk Tuah coin, like or even Trump coin, it's like I'm never touching that shit again. That was a scam. Like that's the attitude they're gonna have, and that kind of really sucks as a whole, because they're going to be difficult to get on the side of helping to crash the Fed. So, it's, we kind of want to build that trust with as many people as we possibly can, as much as those things are still fun to fuck around with. But
Yeah, it definitely has to be. I think it's on the onus is on those of us who are trying to market the legitimate ones to kind of also sprinkle in there the like, and if you want to fuck around and waste some money, there's this other thing. So we can warn people without being like, oh, there's a scam, you gotta be careful, blah, blah. It's just like educating them on the fact that there is a little mini casino within this world that if you want to be a moron you can go to, but like that's what it is. It's the casino at the end of the bar.
See that? Okay, hold on. I'm connecting some dots in my head because I said playing chess earlier. Like, is there like a blockchain based like blackjack or poker or something where you can can you do that on Solana? Like, because that's the thing, right? This or I don't want to say that's the purpose of crypto or blockchains, but it's certainly one purpose that a lot of people do is to circumvent government bullshit. And it's like, I still don't know why. I mean, like, apparently there's this game called Texas Hold'em that you can't actually play in Texas. like, that used. Okay, so gambling is illegal in most of the United States. But it's like, and it's why, and this is the weird thing about that, right? So it's legal in Vegas and Reno and a couple other places, I guess anywhere in Nevada. But at the same time, it's I had a friend who was into like the whole gambling world, and he was like, yeah, even if you set it up offshore, if you have ties to the United States, you can go to prison for running it. And it's like, wait, why? Like, you're doing it in a place where it's legal. And they're like, because the government is just a bunch of fucking tyrants, and like they don't care what the law is. They're gonna take whatever they want to take. They're gonna shut down what they want to shut down. It sucks, but like that's what they do with gambling. But if you could do it on blockchain.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a
like, who's gonna stop you?
I mean, to be somebody will try, because like you're saying, like even if you try to go offshore or bounce around, try to circumvent these things, they will usually still get you. Yeah, I don't know what they've got a really big problem with gambling, and it's always kind of weirded me out how long standing that, we got rid of alcohol prohibition, we're winning the war on drugs, we're pushing most of these other stupid like, ooh, that's bad, we shouldn't do that, like that's not how we do the laws for the most part anymore. And yet gambling is still just like, there's not any movement on the needle on that, like, at all.
Yeah I mean, I think
it's gotten worse.
I think it probably falls in the category of prostitution, where people think like if you gamble, you're like some degenerate that like doesn't deserve to exist in this country. There's definitely a lot of religious folks who think that gambling is like really 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 bad. But like, again, to your point, it's like I think even with cannabis, I think a lot of people had to be convinced that it was medicine to get a lot of people on the side of it. So it's not like everyone's just like, yeah, we should be able to go get high now, because there are a lot of people with I mean, that's political beliefs are religious to some degree, even if it doesn't come from a religious book, like they're religious. So yeah, it's another fight. But yeah, I mean, look, if you can crash the Fed, you take the government's power away, and then what are they going to do?
True that. Amen. Yeah, I think it might be. It has to do with like the addiction side of it. Like you can get addicted to gambling. Where you can't get addicted to like.
You can get addicted
most
to
of the
Facebook.
other. like just
You can
entertainment
get
things.
addicted to prostitutes and
Oh, definitely,
alcohol
yeah.
and
Oh yeah, all of most of the other
yeah,
things that are prohibited.
Facebook, Twitter. But yeah, like I mean, you can get addicted to pretty much anything. But
That's very true.
food, water. Some people just can't live without it. It's
Fucking losers.
weak degenerates.
But yeah, I think
yeah,
people
it's
think about it as so like if you're gambling, you're like going and betting the house on the
right.
ponies and whatever. And like my parents go to the casino at least once a month, pretty consistently for probably the last like 7 or 8 years. It's like an at least like once a month date night kind of thing. They each walk into the casino with like $40 in their pocket. And my mom specifically, like anything she wins, she like puts back in the other pocket. So she only spends down the 40 and then she's done. Typically,
Nice.
sometimes.
That's
They
a cool
spend
trick.
2 hours. There's like the little soda machine. You get free fucking Pepsi the whole time, and you just sit there at the casino. Like and it's only slightly more expensive than it would be for them to go see a movie
Right.
for the same amount of time, and they enjoy it more, and it's just kind of like that entertainment factor. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that's possible to be like a healthy gambling addict or whatever. Uh, Similar to drugs, people don't realize how many just like fully functional people they may on a daily basis are like actively on cocaine, or something like that.
Yeah, for
You'd
sure.
be surprised.
Yeah, well, and a lot of that's all propaganda, right? It's so and that comes down to again like learning. The same thing. What I said about money is learning from the community and educating people. Like it's because otherwise they're learning from the propaganda. They're learning from their grandparents who just always did something a certain way. If we want to change something in a society, we have to spread new ideas. Social media is one way to do it, but at the same time, social media is pretty well controlled by people with money who have their own agenda, doing the exact same thing, spreading certain ideas. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but if you want to live in a better world, that's something we got to do.
Amen. Well, give people one last reminder of where to find the book and the other book and everything else about you. Give the pitch.
I do have a copy right here. This is the first book, Taxation is Theft: How Politicians Rob You Blind. There's a lot of really cool information in here. This is a thicker book. Crash the Fed's a little bit smaller. It's probably like a third of the size. But this one has a lot of like really great information about how the government works and some really interesting historical stories about people who fought back against taxes or how we got certain taxes in the first place. Like why is there even a tax on this? Yeah, there's some really, really great stuff in there. Both of them are on Amazon. Both of them are on taxationistheft.info. If you go to Amazon right now, because Amazon sucks, you can get Crash the Fed for only $5.99 because I was trying to get a bunch of copies sent to an event I'm going to this weekend. The only way I could get them is to pay them extra and lower the price. It's a long story. But anyways, you can benefit from that if you buy within the next couple days. There's also an ebook there, and I am working on the audiobook. Finally, I just started on that, so that's going to be hopefully coming out pretty soon. I'm doing Crash the Fed first, and then I'm going to go back and do Taxation is Theft. I want to let me plug this real quick because this is coming up. So the next book that I'm working on, it's been in the works for a while, but I wanted to have it complete, which meant I needed to kind of finish going through what I'm going through with the IRS. And so I'm going to include every letter I sent to the IRS every response they gave me. I'm going to walk through what everything means on there and how I was able to get them to say, okay, fine, here's all your money back. That's going to be in the upcoming book. But on top of that, on the website taxationstheft.info, you need to get on the mailing list, because soon I'm going to be adding a page on there where you can put in your own tax information and it will generate the same forms I use to send to the IRS to get all my money back. So, and there's going to be like some Q&A stuff. So, and an explanation of what stuff is. Because, you know, ultimately you're going to have to be the one to sign it under penalty of perjury and send it in. It's, if you wanted to, I shouldn't say you're going to have to do that. I should say you're not supposed to do that. It's just an educational tool. But ultimately the whole point of it is to educate people to know why you shouldn't be paying this tax at all and why it's all just a scam. So that's going to be coming too. So you want to make sure you get on the mailing list for that. And then, yeah.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be really cool. That's gonna be the one that gets me sent to prison for a random inspection at an airport. Look, we found 50 kilos in your luggage. Where did those come from? I don't know. They're not. Somebody planted them, or my plane falls out of the sky, or something worse. So we'll see. Small price to pay.
Well, Dan, thanks for coming back on. This is great, as always. Love chopping it up with you, and looking forward to seeing you in a couple of days.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing Tom's documentary.
True. So, for those of you who don't already know, there is a LNC in-person meeting in Dallas, Texas this weekend. It's going to be Saturday and Sunday. Saturday night, there's going to be an awesome little fundraiser dinner with Mary Ruart and Mike Certek speaking. It's going to be emceed by Jesse Cowart. It's going to be a great time. But the meeting, the slightly less fun stuff, starts at about 9 a.m., and we have the exclusive coverage right here on Free Speech Media. So check out our Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, or X pages to watch this live coverage. We will be right there in the room for the whole meeting. And then if you want to, you can find it recorded and uploaded later on the LP's various socials. But as far as over the weekend, if you want to watch it live, you got to do it here. So definitely check that out on Saturday, and then possibly Sunday as well. We don't know if it'll carry over. And then next week, we've got a pre-recorded episode. It'll be recorded in Dallas, actually. We've got Evan McMahon joining the fight. So come on back next week, same place, same time for that. Until then, keep up the fight. Dan, again, thanks for coming on.
Always a pleasure.
Have a good week, guys.